we're back. I just had to really. Also, is there any? No, they're cool. I was about to say if I like somehow reveal details here. The only reason I did that is because like, you know, I almost fucked up on like trying to not expose my real name. Maybe cut that. Yeah, that's the intention. All right, so random equals milliseconds equals RND dot next millisecond. There we go. God, why was that so annoying? Why do I have to do all this extra nonsense? All right, hang on a second. Get all. All right, so get variables. Get variables. Hi there, Hawaiian Pizza. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing all right. All right, so. All right, so we got our string. And yes, because it's technically an entirely different stream, Sky gets to have that little redeem, and I had no really good like way of being able to do that. What's more is you're going to deal with like a three-minute advertisement, so this is going to be even sillier. So, CP. All right. So, and then we go switch case, because that's what we need to do. So C# switch. Good old W3 school. Switch expression case, cool, awesome. So yeah, so switch, and our expression is, the expression is main scene, because we're using that. And first things first, so in the case that it is, now, hopefully... alright, so, and then, so if it's the case of something or other, then it does CPH, we're doing a web socket, CPH WebSocket cell, and camera 1 will, like, do that. Alright, so ding donk, Control C, Control V, default. Alright, so if it doesn't know the thingy-majiggy, then... Oh yeah, and then break. Probably should have break in there, just in case. There we go. Alright, so that, and then it returns true. So, by default, it will do camera 1. So in the first case, if the scene is called main stage, it's going to be camera 1. If, however, the scene is just chatting, then it's going to be camera 2. So the idea here is, hang on a second, let me just zoom in so you can kind of see it a little bit better as I'm about to experiment with this. We're getting the scene of the OBS scene, which should be, there we go, which should be like wherever I'm sitting right now, which in this case is main stage. From there, we then create a random number between 5,000 and 10,000. The reason we're doing that is because that's going to be our randomizer for the miscellaneous numbers. And then we send the WebSocket. So the first thing we send is the camera, which is, you know, I think this one is the cake camera. And then, you know, we wait a certain amount of seconds and then, oh, hang on. Compile. Yes! All right, good news. This is all code. Don't worry too much about this. So this is for the cake cam. For the main stage, just chatting. And then by default, it just goes for camera number 1. So it always goes with like the one that which is this one here. So we save and compile that. I'm gonna just disable these actions, because these two actions should now be in this one here, the camera 4, which we're gonna be calling himbo cam and reverse. Save and compile. Oh wait, no, it's not himbo cam, it's cake cam. God fucking damn it, I got it wrong. Cake cam. Ah, refresh, and I can see Zeeb is now live. Yes, oh yeah, please refresh. Probably should have mentioned that. I know that a certain Dragon Dad had a similar hiccup happening while working on his AI TTS bot. Wasn't that detailed? You accidentally had bot up, but some crucial details for the bot itself. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, you're talking about Gwillem, right? Alright, yep, so I got all that. So that was for the cake cam. Alright, let's do one for the himbo cam, which is camera 3. There we go. Compile, save and compile. Enable and enable. All right, so the trick here is that all right, so cake. Okay, so we did the cake cam. Now we're doing the himbo cam. Cookie for Hawaiian pizza, by the by. I don't know. I didn't see your redeem for a cookie. Cookie for Bookie. Here's your cookie, Bookie. Alrighty. So hang on. Hit OK. So, all right. So we've done cake cam. We then do himbo cam. Himbo cam and reverse. Now save and compile. Now the whole purpose for this one is if we do the himbo thingy-madiggy, for example, in this section here. So let's say, for example, where's my himbo cam? Nope, that's the stolen shirt. Where's my himbo cam? Himbo cam, here we go. So, himbo cam in this scene goes to here. And then after like 5 to 10 seconds, it should go, yeah, back to here. Now the real trick is when I'm over here. When I'm in the just chatting, I'm supposed to be facing here. Now, let's see. We got, nope, wrong thing. Himbo cam. All right, so himbo cam is on cooldown, but then in a few seconds, it's available. All right, so it does the himbo cam thingy-me-diggy again. Now, it should go back to the seat. It should go back here. Yes! Oh, yes! Did it! Oh, it feels good doing code. Ow! It feels, god damn it, it feels good. Yeah, oh my god, that was such an easy solution, and I didn't know that I had that script available for me, being able to be like, oh hey, what's the current OBS scene? Oh my god, this makes it so, this is great. Because what that means is that if I want to do the scanning redeem, I then can like force it to be like, oh hey, if we're at this scene, then activate this thing, or if we're at this scene, activate this one here. Like, it's brilliant. At least unlike with me encoding, nothing exploded. Well, yeah, nothing exploded. Alrighty. Closing that. Alright, I don't need all these thingy-madiggies open. I can turn off that source. I can turn on that thingy-madiggy. I don't need this open anymore. Alrighty. Now we can go back to, like, the chatting nonsense and what have you, where... Oh, yeah, sorry, thank you, Masonic, for the 55 bits. Really appreciate it. We had a few new people follow us, like, before I streamed in the evening, so a Night Lycan or a Jackal Wolf. Don't recognize any of them. And a Sensei Theo. So, yeah, hopefully one of them is, like, here. That'd be cool. Yeah, no, I already read that. So, Bookie, did you get your cookie? Yes, you did. I hope you did get your cookie. Alright, so... Sippies. Hang on a second. I want sippies. Alright. Just slap that there. So. Excuse me. Oh, Chrome. I've never seen this Chrome before. Who's Chrome? I've never seen... Twitch. I thought you were talking about Gwillem. I love how there's a dude named Chrome. Just ruin it for everyone. Nah. Alrighty then. Chrome the Dragon. That would do it. Also, the timer thingy-majiggy is going off now. Oh, Crown. Wait, Chrome? Chrome the Dragon. Oh my gosh. Why is it so hard finding... Oh, because their Twitter is Chrome. And then they have a YouTube channel... Or sorry, then they have a Twitch channel called Chrome Plays Games. Alright, fair enough. Respect. I'm an idiot. I'm dumb. I need the username to be the exact same across all systems. I've done that with myself, by the by. It's like, oh, what's my username on Twitter? It's GrantZeebs. What's my username on Telegram? GrantZeebs. What's my username on Discord? GrantZeebs. What's my username on Twitch? GrantZeebs. What's my username on YouTube? Well, YouTube is technically using a Google account in order to do that kind of nonsense, and I can't have a direct link to YouTube, but lo and behold, GrantZeebs. Ta-da! So yeah, I do what I can. So, and it just, so much of my brain is already taken up with all kinds of other nonsense. Wait, is someone in my apartment? Hello? No, okay, cool. Alright, I'm alive. There's no home invasion or anything like that. Alright, so yeah. Some people like to separate Twitter from the lewd furry stuff, at least. Yeah, no, I tried doing that, like, a while ago as well. Like, when I first started doing, like, a little bit more of the tweeting and what have you, like, especially, like, the whole call to action thing on Twitter, I tried having two Twitter accounts. I had my GrantZeebs account, which is the one I had, like, since first creating, like, a Twitter account that was, like, for, like, related to my persona, because of getting commissioned artwork and wanting to share it with everyone. That one is looted to the max, and like I like a lot of lewd shit, and sometimes I'll tweet it. I don't tweet a lot of like naked ladies or anything like that, or nudies and all that kind of thing. Not as much as I did back when I first had the account, I will be real with you. But I still support the artists and what have you that come across, and I'm just sort of like, yes, Morg, absolutely. I love the big titties and the big badonka. You're getting a retweet. And it might ruin, like, the Twitter algorithm and trying to have new people find out who I am and where I'm from and all that kind of shit. But you know what? Retweet that shit. There's already enough nonsense. But then there's, like, a mixture of, like, shit posting of, like, you know, a giant grinning hyena in a plushie, or or, like, the image of, like, you know, something, like, absolutely filled to the brim and it doesn't need it, with the caption of like, oh, the screenshots I taken, and then my phone, because the ADHD brain just, you know, it wants to keep track of all that kind of nonsense, and since thinking, oh, if I take a screenshot, I'll remember this. I don't remember this. Like, I had to clean out my phone like a little while ago because I don't want to spend like a lot of money to get an iCloud like account that's got like a couple hundred like gigs of information. I think for me, GrantZeebs. Thank you, Hawaiian Pizza. Oh my goodness, is it actually okay? Hawaiian Pizza. Hang on a second. I need to double check this. Is it doing what I think it is? How long is it? How long is this clip? So, okay, so it is. So it was like less. It was like 30 seconds or less. All right, here's what. Thank you so much, Hawaiian Pizza. Holy shit, that I greatly appreciate that you've done that for me. Thank you so much. You know what this means? I can actually delete the clip that I created with my stream deck. I absolutely love what you did there. Thank you so much, Hawaiian Pizza. If any of you are wondering like why I'm so pleased and absolutely chuffed about this, I like clips, all right? If you ever try and like figure out like what a streamer is about and such like that, you don't go through like several hours of their vlog. You go through their clips. You go through their featured clips. And I try and remember, you know, like a year ago, I wasn't really too good at reviewing my VODs and like doing the clipping and such like that. And Unnamed gave me the advice of, oh, just have a button on your Stream Deck to do the clipping, because it's built into the Stream Deck's like Twitch plugin. So it's like a convenient little button, and it will automatically do it, and it will do like the 30-second default. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. But the problem is that it clips it with the title of the stream and what have you. You can't go back and edit the actual length or anything like that. You just have to sort of pray and spray that it's like, ah, yes, click, and hope that you got the 30 seconds you needed, or, you know, that it wasn't needing to be longer than 30 seconds. So But yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Hawaiian Pizza, for actually making that clip because you, not only did you clip the moment, which I really appreciate, but you titled it. You did a custom length as well, so it wasn't just a full 30 seconds. You went for a 26 seconds. You actually like. Oh my goodness! I am going to feature that clip right now. Thank you so much. Zeebs, I'm sick. I was hit with the cold and hot shivers last night. You felt good today, but now the cold and hot shivers are back and you're just kill me. No, we're not killing you right now. Here's what's gonna happen, Wild Saber. You are going to be fine. Here's the first things first. Okay, if you're okay, so hot shivers and so if you're cold, you want to keep your temperature up, I think. Hang on a second. Cold and hot shivers. Hang on a second. So, okay, so 7 causes for chills without fever and tips. Alright, so that would be the common cold. Alrighty. So, or the flu or the common cold. And so your home remedies are... So for self-care, throat lozenges, and so let's see, anti-inflammatory nonsense, common cold treatment. Okay, so stay hydrated, very important. Stay hydrated. Rest. So don't feel like you have to sit up all day and like watch me stream and what have you, like, because I know you may not be doing a lot of things like when you're sitting in a chair watching a stream, but your body is doing a lot of things when you're doing that. First and foremost, you're engaging the muscles in your back to keep you sitting up. That's the first thing. Hence, that's why, like, if you're sitting a lot of the time of your day, your body wants to, like, sort of hunch and shit, which is then problematic because what you're doing then is you're trying to compensate for muscle usage in your back by putting in a position for your spine to just sort of lock in to the position, and then you're just gonna like make it sore and what have you, because then your spine's gonna be in a different sort of, it's gonna be in an unnatural position for your muscles to like still hold on to it technically, but instead of it being like in an engagement of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna hold you just a little bit, it's instead like a different kind of strain, like if someone's like sort of tugging at your finger, where you're not using the muscles in your finger, but your finger is the muscle fingers, or the finger muscles are like doing a thing. And what's more is like the longer you stare at a screen, your eyes get strained as well. And it's gonna fuck up with your like sleeping schedule. So if you gotta, rest, R&R, and drink some tea or have a little honey for whatever reason, and maybe go for some medication. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but maybe go for a lozenge. That one I think I can say enough. But yeah. I hope you get better. Eat lots of chicken. Oh yeah, and chicken soup. Thank you, Zarek. So chicken soup. I know that fever is helping to fight off whatever's ailing you. Show everyone my favorite clip from my stream. Wait, your stream? The fuck? Wild Saber. Were you trying to... Hang on a second. Wild Saber, were you trying to advertise your fucking channel in another streamer's channel after I just spoke to you about such etiquette? I don't know. Show everyone my favorite clip from your stream. You were talking about clips. Oh, yeah, no, I was talking about... I just wanted to say thank you to Hawaiian Pizza because of what they did, and I was, like, really, really appreciative of that. So... But yeah, question for you, Wild Saber, actually, since you're fairly, actually, Wild Saber, are you okay if we, like, chat for a little, like, if I ask you questions and you, like, write a response, are you okay for that kind of thing, or is it, like, doing your head in, like, giving you a little bit of a, a boom, 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 when you're staring at the screen and you have to listen to me and answer questions and what have you? Are you good, or are you not good for question time? Because I see a yes, but I just want to... I'm waiting for the second yes. Because I don't... You're good. Okay, cool. So, Wild Saber, you had been streaming a little bit at... So you're in the early stages of streaming, right? You're doing... You have to, like, sort of hit the ground... You have to hit the pavement and do, like, a lot of advertisement on the on like the whole streaming front, where it's like, hey, you've got a streaming channel, you've got Twitch, you should come by and you should check it out. And the thing is that you start, you know, with your friends, or if you're feeling comfortable with your streaming channel. I wasn't. I'm going to be real with you. You start with your friends and your family around the office and such like that, and you get them over into your Twitch stream, so then that way you have like the initial numbers to go off. Then you're, you know, doing the like, you know, the tweeting on Twitter, and then the notifications on Discord if someone has a self promo channel like I do on my channel, and I do notice that you post your thingy-majiggies, and I just wish I could actually attend to those, but don't feel forced to do that kind of thing. But yeah, you're sort of in the early stages of that kind of streaming thing. How do you find the clipping of your channel? Have you found that some people have done that right at the get-go as you've been streaming, where, you know, maybe it's your first 5 or 10 streams and someone has decided to clip you, and it actually feels like it's a contextual clip as well? It's not just a, oh, what did I miss from the advertisement? Hit the clip button to see what they missed in the last 3 minutes. Like, has there been something like that? You've only been clipping. Okay, fair. Okay, so, all right. So we're kind of in the same boat out there, where it, like, we're kind of responsible for being our own. What's the word? What's the word? I know it. I know the word. It's the It's like it's the dude that, no, not the manager, kind of a social man, but it's the dude, but it's not a hype, maybe it is a hype man, but like you have to be your own hype man at this point, where you have to edit, maybe editor, but like you have to like do your own promoter. That's actually a good one. Promoter, that's it. So you have to, like, you're looking through your VOD, however long that is, or you're doing like what was recommended to me by Unnamed, where you just have like a quick and easy command, like you press a button and it creates a clip. Like I have one of those right now. Observe. I stay silent for like 3 to 4 seconds, so then that way, you know, I'm not pressing the button like immediately after I say a few words. I give the stream time to buffer. But yeah, so, you know, I press a button, and then Twitch is like, oh hey, someone just pressed your create a clip button. So like you have to do that sort of yourself thing. You're currently at that stage. I do. So yeah. So we do what we can. We have to wear a lot of hats when we start streaming at our in the early stages. And what's more is, sometimes you wear those hats for a very long time, I'm gonna be real with you. You don't have a button. Okay, maybe, can you do like hotkeys? Because I know, like, if you have the stream open, you can do Alt-X. I wonder if OBS has a Twitch clip shortcut. I wonder, because like the Elgato Stream Deck has a thing for that. I wonder if there's like someone else. I wonder if someone's done like is there a way to make Twitch clips from OBS with a hotkey? I know I can clip videos so that it can be saved to the PC with a hotkey. Yep, I have that. I tried using that. Yeah, so Alt-X is when you create the clip, and then it like goes into a little editor if you have it available. It doesn't. Okay, so if you have like maybe a Twitter bot, you can make it so that there's like either a voice command or a console command that will do a Twitch clip. But then once again, you're running into the issue of you then have to have like a button or a hotkey designed to like do the thing for you. My God, a Stream Deck is like one of those things where it's almost like a very important thing to use if you're going to like one-man band this Twitch nonsense. That's crazy. Holy shit. Oh, that's also a really cute thing. It's a godsend. Okay, so do you have a Stream Deck then? look at me like pointing so accusatory. It's just sort of like Stream Deck. No, okay. Alrighty then. What does a Stream Deck cost? I already have one, because, like,
Then.
What? What if numpad? Ooh. Does streamer bot do numpads? Hang on a second. Well, the thing is that so long as you don't deal with a game that wants to do numpads and such, then... Okay, yeah, so Stream Deck has, like, a hotkey function, and you can make it so that if you press, like, say, Alt and then num1 or Control num2 or any of that kind of stuff, then you can have it, like, run a command and such like that. So, and hopefully not a lot of computer games have, like, the hotkey as, like, an integral use. Like, even something like Helldivers 2, like, when they're like, oh, use the control key, and then it's, like, just using the WASD, it doesn't even, like... I know some people, like, decide to remap their Helldiver stratagems, so, because you have to do, like, this Dance Revolution thing of, like, up, down, left, right, A, B, start kind of thingamadiggy with the stratagems. Some people go and remap the arrow keys for the stratagem to their numpad. But I'm not a huge fan of that idea, because if I'm in a shooting game, I don't want to take my hand off the mouse in order to engage the numpad. And normally, if I want to use the numpad, that's the very hand I'm going to use. I don't know who uses the numpad with their left hand, where they're holding down on the mouse and then letting go of WASD and then just going bonk. Behold, calculator. Calculations are being run. Should I have posted into Telegram? Maybe I should have posted into Telegram. Actually, hold on a sec. I also need to get rid of all of these copy pastas that are in my, clip history. My god, how has Mac not created that as a thing? There are people at my work that are huge fans of MacBook Pros and such, and one of the things that I think was really cool from Windows 10 into 11, which they've natively added, is the fact that you can turn on clipboard history. So you know how you go Control-C, Control-V, and if you have to, like, copy multiple things, like, in Excel, and you have to, like, move them around and shit... No, Incineroar, not the ball again! No! You finally set up a bot in your Discord to notify followers when you start a stream? Nice! So, which one did you pick? Because I went for... Where's my Discord? Where's my Discord? It's somewhere around... Here it is. I went for StreamCord because with StreamCord you can set it up so that it's like explicit notification of a Twitch channel, which I've done for myself, Code, and I think Blue Foxy Nicey Icy. So I've done it for a few peeps, but then I learned that there was like a much better feature called the live reaction role. So essentially, because there's the streamers role over in my Discord, so I've made it that if you are a member of the streamers role and you've linked your Twitch account to Discord, then it should automatically do the thingy-madiggy of, like, reporting and such. StreamCord? Nice, I'm using the same one too. So yeah, nice. Nice work. Actually, let's see what comes up in the randomizer of what Wild Saber's, like, clip for the month is. I know you haven't been streaming for a bit, but let's see what we get from Dungeons & Dragons Online.
The next area is over yonder.
My god, Adventure Quest has changed.
Where did you go?
I'm over here.
Where? What has happened to Adventure Quest? It used to be a Flash game.
Towards the guys in red.
That's AQ3D. Oh yeah, it says Adventure Quest 3D. Okay, so they've gone into, like, the third dimension with Adventure Quest. My goodness.
I swear to God, you were right behind me. How the hell did you get lost so easily?
Were you giving the tutorial to someone? Were you being a guide? Were you being a mentor to someone? And then they just got lost?
Camp, or the Hollow Army camp.
Also, what in the world is here? That's...
Okay, I see.
Oh, 3D props. Okay, so 3D props is popping up there.
Over here! I swear to
they
God,
really went into parkour with a few areas, though.
Rope around your waist.
Radio. Okay, okay. Nice. So, where was I in my train of... Alright, so we've done the thingamadiggy, we've done that thingamadiggy. Shit. Do I need to go to the bathroom? Because I'm not... Here's the problem, is that I'm not busting. So I don't know if I'm gonna, you know, get it done in, like, 3 minutes. But I don't exactly want to put myself into, like, a, you know, butt-clenching situation and accidentally shit myself. I wonder if have people done that? No, I don't think people have done that while on stream. That would be ridiculous if they did. What is code sending me while I'm in the middle of stream? Oh, okay, so it's just Isabel, you know, being an absolute crazy woman, and it's like, just, I know 200 ways to kill someone, and she's like, you know you can put rats in a jar, and he's like, 201. Good for you, Doomslayer. Good for you for having someone in your life that isn't a demon trying to kill you. I mean, Isabel could very well be a demon in the interpretations of the game. I don't know. I haven't played it in a long Code. What are you doing? Why are you farting in my stream? That's Rossetti? Okay, so Rossetti is the demon. Sorry, just dinner. Also, hi Code, welcome to the stream. I fiddled with like 2 of my commands. So now when you do, because normally if there was a himbo or a cake cam redeem, normally after like however, cookie for, who'd asked for the cookie? Jason. Okay, Jason asked for the cookie. So yeah, normally if you, hang on, I'm gonna put you back over. So normally if you do like a cake or a himbo cam, I normally end up like in that corner over there, like regardless of the scene that I'm in, whether it's just chatting or the main stage. Turns out there is a C# command where I can grab OBS's current scene. So if I do it that method, I am then able to, you know, send a different WebSocket command for, yeah, so watch this nonsense. Watch this. Instead of sending me into the bottom right corner, it's gonna put me back at my desk. Amazing! Isn't, like, I solved it. Adventure Quest 3D is their new game. It's updated regularly with new content, and unlike the old Adventure Quest that's microtransactions due to hell and death, you can grind all the specialty currency in game. Nice. I think Josh Strife Hayes did a video on the. No, don't pull the lever on me. Pulling the lever on me. Pulling the lever on me when I've done nothing wrong. I am just excited about code that I've created and such. I did nothing wrong. Alright, I need a video game. I can't be sitting. I would love to do just chatting for like 3 hours long, but the thing is, did I crash your... No, you didn't. You didn't. I got you. Sorry, my main camera is like down here, but it's like I'm getting cut off, so I have to like adjust to like my middle camera. And then if I get really big, then I go all the way up here, but for now I'm down here. I wish I could be a little bit bigger. So, but anywho's, no, you didn't crash my stream. I just, you know, decided to. Thank you for the hyper himbo code.
Bigger.
I just decided to like, you know, pull a prank on you, and it worked. I gaslighted an Australian.
Bigger.
Oh my god, I'm doing so big. And there we go. Hello there. Hi, Co. Alrighty. Gosh. Back to the chatting scene. I haven't yet picked my game. Code is the oldest iPad kid. I feel like that is a topical. I feel like that sentiment has been shared about Code during like a Monster Hunter session or something like that, where it was one of those cases of, because Code's not that old. He's not in his 50s. He's like he's a millennial. He's not that old. So, and just like having, because it was this thing of like trying to gaslight me about Bluey ending after season 4, and it's like, no, we don't have any confirmation of that. That would be absolutely dumb if ABC did that. Dude, I'm 29. Dude, I'm 30. We're gonna leave the age conversation there, because here's what's gonna happen. Everyone is going to realize that, you know, fucking, you know, 30-year-olds are filled in here, and it's gonna take one person who's gonna try and be edgy and be like, I'm 12 or something like that. And it's like, look, you might be joking, but I would rather, you know, I want to have a career like Matt Pat, where I can be on the internet for over a decade and
That's
not have any... I want to be on the internet for, like, over a decade and not have any, like, controversies of, like, diddling kids or any of that kind of fucked up nonsense. It's really not that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. Matt Pat has demonstrated to us that it is possible, and it shouldn't be Matt Pat proving that to us. Good for Matt Pat, though. He's retired, he's doing fun things, he's taking care of his kid, he's got a wife, he's doing amazing shit. But yeah, anywho, yeah, you believed an Onion article from TikTok. No, I didn't. Code did. Code, the Batuta, or whatever it was called. I thought it was called the Beetroot article, but apparently it's called the Batuta. You said that to Code. Yep, okay. Tobuscus drama flashbacks. I remember the name. I have not bothered looking into the dramas. There are just channels that I'm like, you know, meh. You had an old man moment. Did you now? You had an old man moment. You saw an article that couldn't possibly... That, let's be real, I feel like ABC Network would have caught on very, very quickly about any of that insinuation. What's more is the image you sent me, like, in the image... It wasn't even, like, Bandit and Chili. It was, it wasn't at their current age. It was Bluey during, at the end of one of the episodes of camping or something like that, when she's, like, a lot older and, like, a teenager and shit. And then teenage Chili from a entirely different episode. And they just, like, photoshopped the two on there. You had ADHD and are very dumb. Dumb. It also looked obviously photoshopped. Anywhoosies, we won't let's not do any elder abuse to our 33-year-old veteran of the furry community.
Hello.
So yeah, we gotta have a think about games, and so, or did I want to talk about games, or do I want to move on to games, or did I want to keep on talking? Good news, actually. Good news. So today's Monday for me. I get paid tomorrow, and here's the fun thing. I had money left over after the fortnight that I was given this paycheck, and like, this paycheck wasn't even that big of a wasn't a huge paycheck or anything like that either. It's like a quote-unquote standard paycheck, but after 2 weeks, after two weeks of the one paycheck, I have funds still in my spending account and my, like, in and out account. And what's more, this is after I've put like $200 into it from, like, the normal account into the special savings account. So I've got, like, the in and out account. So hang on a sec, let me get paint up or something like that. Let me get paint up. Hang on. Ding. Where's my window? Window capture, paint, create a new capture, and it's gonna go to paint, and we're gonna put that there, and then, wait, hang on, up there, dink, there, okay, maybe not behind me, alright, there we go, and then we're gonna put you, alright, let me just shrink you down just a little bit, there we go. Alrighty, so, oh, that's... Why is it like that? Hang on. Hello? Why are you different? Why is it so... Hang on a second. Oh my god, what the fuck is going on with... Alright, properties. MS Paint, capture method, bit by... Windows 10. There we go. That's better. capture the cursor, client. All right, here we go. Here we go. File, new, don't say. Here we go. All right. So I have like 3 accounts. So we've got like our we got like our like so we got our like normal, so we got our in and out accounts. So like in/out, and when so that's where like my income, that's where my bills go and such like that. And then what, so the other account I have is my so my other account is, oh wait, there's a text thing I could have just used this. Okay, cool. This one is my what is it called? It's like access something. Access advantage. Thank you, ANZ. Access advantage. So the reason for this, oh my god, why can't you just be bigger? Hang on. Dink donk. 20. There we go. And bold. Oh my god, no, just 48. Nope, too big. 28. There we go. So, we've got like access advantage. So the idea is that any money, so this one here is where there's like a card attached to it, like a debit card, not a credit card. I'm keeping it real. I'm still on a debit card, not a credit card. And this is the one that's used for like paying groceries, PayPal, or any sort of like quick money sort of thing. So lots of little transactions are going off in the access advantage account, ideally. The in and out one here, this is meant to be like big things. So bills, income, and so thing, or like rent, for instance. So yeah, so that's what this account is for, this in and out account. If I now ideally I then have in this account, this one is my long-term savings. And this one here is like, you know, this is supposed to be like, you know, saving up for big things. So for hang on a second. Let's see if we can make this text bigger. Saving up for big things. So the idea is that, for example, Furdu fund. So ideally, I should have like a couple $1,000s in here for when I go down to the Gold Coast for Furdu, which will be, you know, in a month or two. Yeah, no, it should be in a month. In a month, I'm going to be going down to Furdu, and I want to have like a couple $1,000s. I want to have, and the reason I need a couple $1,000s is because, one, I needed to pay for the ticket. I need to pay for the hotel. I'm going to be eating out for 3 days. That is expensive in Australia. And I'm hopeful that there's going to still be free breakfast at the hotel. So thankfully I don't have to deal with like one of the meals, but that still leaves like lunch and dinner. Let's be real. Normally I should try and get away with only 1 meal in a day or 2 meals in a day when I'm at a con, but probably going to be more likely 3. So Furdu fund in there. Most recently as well, I now have to start putting money in for like, what's it called? Oh yeah, mortgage. Or, wait, no, not a mortgage, a deposit for a home loan. Because housing and property and all that kind of shit is expensive. And the way when you go to a bank and they're like, ah, yes, if you want to, you know, we'll do a calculation of how much you can loan from us based off of your income and what your expenditure is, and we want, like, you know, I think it's like 10 to 30% of the final fund, as, or like the full figure. They want 10 to 30% as a deposit. So then that way you're not, you know, borrowing from the bank like the entire amount. You're really borrowing like 70% of what you couldn't do. So, and here's the unfortunate thing. I don't have like $10,000 or anything like that. This thing has normally been sitting at like, you know, $0 or $100. if I start getting in, like, if I get, like, a bonus from work or something like that, then, you know, maybe there's going to be 1,000 in there. But it takes a long time for me to save money. But, however, because of how I did in the first, you know, fortnight of March, I had funds left over. And I had so much funds left over that I was able to put in, like... Where's my... There we go. I was able to put in $250. So if I can try and do that fortnightly... where's my... I can probably get away with... So, 250. 500 a month. 12... How many... Hang on. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So, 60. No, yeah, 60 from... 60 from 12. And then I gotta add 2 zeros at the end. Wait, does that sound right? Hang on a second. Calculator. So if I'm saving 250 a fortnight, and there's 52 weeks. Okay, rather than doing 12 months, we do 52 weeks in the year. Because it's going by fortnight, that's half, so 26. So times by 250, $6,500. I might be able to save myself about $5,000. Because let's be real with you, I'm probably gonna spend about $1,500 on nonsense such as going to Furdu or, you know, whatever the fuck. So I get people wanting to make sure every con is fire, but I doubt TFF wanted an actual... There was a... Wait, Zyrex, you can't be dropping that shit. There was a fire? Excuse you? Hang on. TTF. Fire. Hang on. Texas Furry Fiesta. Texas Furry Fiesta news. There was a okay.
Hello.
Okay, when you said a fire, I thought like a, you know, the hotel burning down shit. Hang on a second. You sent me a thingy-majiggy about it. Alright, cool. Hang on. What the fuck? The bar in the hotel caught fire. Okay, so... Okay, so it wasn't like an arsonist thing. It was just... Someone... They had to evacuate the con, or they had to evacuate the bar because of a grease fire. Cool. Alright, so it wasn't, like, malicious. It almost got to the point it wasn't caught quickly. Yeah, grease fires are a little bit crazy, and, you know, fun fact, do not throw water on a grease fire. It is a terrible idea. Alright. So I need to get off Twitter because that is not important right now. And then close this. I don't need Paint open anymore. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with myself that I was able to, like, you know, manage my money a little bit better. Throw flour instead. That's even worse. We're not taking that advice. You have to starve the fire of oxygen. So big, you're on the screen, I can't see you entirely. Well, if I move over here, now I properly fit in the screen. Hi there, YY. I'm grand. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go for a game that I have on my drive. It's not Yakuza. We're gonna do that Wednesday night. We're gonna play a game that has been in my drive that it's like, I'm curious how well this will play out. Color me curious. Also, I will adjust the thingy-majiggy as well. Give me a second. What's it called? Here we go. This is going to be absolutely ridiculous of a... Flour absorbs the oil while choking the fire. I thought flour would catch fire. I do not believe you, Wild Saber. Yeah, I'm gonna, like, let's be real. Coding company probably have a better... Also, why is the game not capturing? Oh. Probably if I, you know, ding, donk, ding. Alright, let's see if it captures. Because you can hear that, right? There we go. Alright, oh, it detects my controller. Nope. Never mind. Alright, why is the... There we go. New game. Also, did I not stop the music in the background? No, I did not. Okay. Pause that music. Baking soda or salt if you don't have a fire extinguisher. Radio. Remy, I don't know who Remy Warren is. And you have to buy DLC for, like, all the other places. Shame. Alright, we're going to a hunting reserve. We're gonna go hunting. I just wanted to try out this game. Alright? Because...
Hi, I heard you'd finally arrived.
It's like Monster Hunter.
Welcome to Central Europe.
Wait, this is Central Europe?
I'm Connie, the Wildhüter of Hirschfelden. Reserve Warden, that is. I'm here to make sure that your time here will be unforgettable.
I thought this was America.
Hirschfelden is one of the oldest hunting reserves in Europe, and we host a diverse population of the most popular big game for all hunting tastes.
I don't have any of the
It's also the most
DLC,
beautiful place on Earth.
and this is freely
No,
available
I'm not
on
biased at all.
Xbox Game Pass. So wait, is this game a German game, or is this... I thought it was an American game, because it's talking about big game hunting. Track down and harvest your... Oh my god, why
Go ahead and have a look around. I can't wait for you to experience all the beauty of Hirschfelden's fields and forests. Why don't you see if you can find an animal track nearby?
Okay, so... And then G is auto move. Okay, so some of the button prompts are still expecting a controller and shit. Oh my... Okay. Fine. It's a hunting... Even though this is a first-person shooter, let's get the... Locate an animal. Alright, cool. Like, hang on. There's gotta be a setting here to be able to force it so that... Alright, key, mouse smoothing is off, hold time is... So they have, like, all kinds of, like, thingy... Alright, gameplay, hang on a second. Manual reloading. Oh my god, that'd be cool. If enabled, you must manually by pressing Y. If disabled, will be held to keep holding breath. Mission and tips, interface. Everything is full screen and on ultra, thank you. Alright, key bindings. Alright. Disconnect the controller, so it doesn't try to use the controller. Alright, so auto walking is G, caps is that. Yep, aim is right trigger, R is to reload, F is the skill, next up in holding breath, holstering the weapon, toggling the scope, headlamp, binoculars, E, P. Alright, so why... So... Okay, so A is to jump. We got dog commands, we got... Okay, UI, so codexes is the function keys. Holding is to open the weapons wheel. Uh-huh. Trophy lodge. Alright, cool. Alright, locate an animal, shoot, and harvest. Alrighty. Amazing. Alright, so the Hirschfelden. Alright, cool. Hunting log, history. So I got nothing in there. And then... Alright, so we got all kinds of things. Tracking a mission will... You can view all through your mission log. Cool. You can play in the U.S. Hunter Zone, Savannah, and South America. I reckon I need DLC for that. Alright, hang on.
There. Use your binoculars to get a closer look.
Using E.
Be sure to aim for its vital organs. Heart and lung shots mean quicker kills, less painful.
Hang on, so why is my binoculars not working? Where's my binoculars? Camera. Did I not come into this with binoculars? Here's my mission log. I love how they give Connie a face. Alright, B. Okay. No, for the... Alright, dunk.
Gently now. Take a deep breath to steady your aim.
Can I, like, crouch? Hang on. There we go. Alright, while in aim mode. Cool. Oh, come on.
It's bleeding, so that's a hit. Follow the blood trail to find it. Shouldn't have gone far.
I know where it is. So it should be down there. Alright. Use it. Keep that shotgun out. You have one free US hunt zone?
Running in
Okay.
the reserve is great. Just know that the animals will hear you running before you even come close.
Cool. Doesn't matter. 'Cause got the deer. Nice. Although that is an ugly looking deer. It costs 2,000 to taxiderm it. One shot into the left lung. Nice. The harvest is not taxidermied or saved. The latest... Okay, hang on a second. Save harvest. And is now available in the trophy thingamajiggy. Cool. Alright.
Stay low when you're stalking an animal to avoid being seen.
Okay. Oh, this is boring. There's like all these indicators in the bottom right. You can't see it, chat, because I'm in the way right now. Dumb zebra getting in the way of your hunting immersion. But hunt deer, then game does a switcheroo on you and turns into a zombie survival. If it does do that, holy shit, that would be some crazy.
Hold on, I'll send the coordinates.
If that game does that, where it's like, oh, here's a game where you're, you know, just doing some nice, like, you know, slow, methodical hunting, and it's like, zombies! If it does that, holy shit, that would be crazy. It would be like it would be like the Sniper Elite Zombies mode. If they were able to somehow keep that hidden in the advertisement, that would be crazy. You'll be back, you need a drink. Rest. Wild Saber, rest. Get some R&R, drink up, have some chicken soup. Wait, do I need it? No, I've got 4 bullets in there. Alright, cool. Alright, so... tracks look to be going that way. Looks to be another deer. God, I'm blind as fuck.
If you want to get your bearings, there are lookout points spread out all over the reserve.
Alright, so...
I notice you're after a fallow deer. Be sure to stay concealed. They have some of the best eyesight among the reserve animals. Their good hearing and smell doesn't make things easier either.
Cool. Well, hence why we're going up there. Herbivore preparing a mix of woodlands and open fields for grazing. Nice. Alright. This is like... This is American Monster Hunter. It very much is just Monster Hunter.
Wild boar are especially active at night, which is just one of the reasons they're difficult to hunt. They're really tough and can get aggressive, so keep your distance.
Alrighty. Also, terrible management of the bins. A bear can get in there. Alright, so thankfully foot noises is out of a mating call of what looks to be a red fox. Okay. If I shoot your fursona, let me know. This is gonna be ridiculous. I wonder how many furries actually play hunting games, and they're just, you know, oblivious to the irony of, like, I absolutely love animals. Bang.
Listen, did you hear that?
Yes.
Calls are really helpful when locating an animal.
It's a warning call. Okay.
Quite a view, isn't it? From here, you can see a lot of great hunting opportunities in the nearby area. Rattenfeld is a favorite region for a lot of hunters. The fallow deer
I thought
is
they were gonna hit
such
me
a
with the Jurassic
classic
Park
animal
music
to
then.
hunt. But we also get a lot of history buffs here. To the south lies the Hirschdorf Hügelgrab, a grave mound dating back to the Bronze Age. Be sure to stop by one of the outposts. They're essentially base camps.
Cool. Awesome. And I have skill points available. Alrighty. Okay, this scope is not as... doesn't go as... I thought this scope was gonna zoom, but it was not going to zoom. Alrighty, let's... Alright, so... that's a warning from the red foxes. Alright, so I'm not... I don't think I'm downwind. I should be good for taking that path. I wonder how long I'm gonna be in this tutorial. Like, what's the next thing? Oh, visit an outpost. Ah, okay, yeah. Alright. Cerveza Cristal! How the fuck am... Rathenfeld Sudlich Vorpsens... Vorposten. I'm guessing that means outpost. Cerveza Cristal. Alright, swap to a shotgun in case I have to, like, you know, whip a 180. Alright, cool.
Careful, the underbrush can be a bit noisy this time of year.
The temptation to sprint all of this. But I feel like that would ruin the whole, you know, stalking animals thing. Also, the birds are kind of dull. Yeah. Alrighty. Alright, I can't see what the F they're talking about there. Alright, moving. Let's keep moving, let's keep moving. Actually, double check the system, key bindings. Holding breath, telescope, headlamp, cameras P, dog commands, UI. Scoreboard is I. Oh my god, there's a Toby eye tracker thing. Camera is P, headlamp H. Okay, maybe I need to go H and then... No, there's no... Yeah, I don't have any binoculars. At least I don't think I do. Yep, they know I'm here.
Red deer are magnificent and quite vocal. Their senses aren't as good as the fallow deer's, but they're much bigger and tougher to down, so be sure to use an appropriate caliber weapon, or just go for the heart.
Noted. Very old. Alright. Okay, so fallow and red went in two different directions, or there's more than one fallow. Is this an outpost? Waken, lords and ladies gay, the mist has left the mountain grey. Springlets in the dawn are steaming, diamonds on the break are gleaming, and foresters have busy been. To track the buck. No, Wild Saber, don't pull the lever when I'm doing a poem! Why do you do this to me when I'm trying to read a poem? Also, welcome back from the advertisements. To track the buck in thicket green. Now we come to chant our lay, waken lords and ladies gay. Nice. Oh. That's fairly close. I'm not downwind either, so it's not going to be able to hear me. Can't get a good sight of them just yet. So somewhere in that direction is a deer. You reckon we've had them? The only thing is that... Okay, so I can pull out the camera, but I don't have binoculars. Oh, 4 is the binoculars. Okay. Well, they need to fix their key bindings. Alrighty. Do you see him? You're tired as hell, hot as balls, and your head feels like... Get some sleep! I told you this before the advertisement, Wild Saber. Get some sleep. Because there's gonna be, like, random quiet moments like there is right now. And then there's going to be a gunshot at some point. It's the middle of the day, Xerix. I don't think we're gonna get thunder. That's new tracks. Yeah, there's 2 different kinds of tracks right now. Now, hopefully, I have not alerted it to. It's not thundering where I am. I don't know. It's not from my game. Fair enough. Okay, so they want to trot.
Sounds like Gerlinda could use a hand. Oh, sorry. I just got a message from one of the local residents, Gerlinda Jaeger. I'll check in with her later to see what she needs help with.
Alright, sounds fair. Yeah, I can't see shit with all these bushes around. Eight. Ah, there it is. Okay, so there's 2 there. You could barely see them. Oh, hello. I saw that one. There's that one. Heads up. Alright, 2 heads. I can barely see them from the foliage until they, you know, put their heads up. Weird. Crazy. Hi there, Sage. Good evening. I've been alright. Didn't have anything properly planned, and I just chatted for a little bit at the start of the stream. Had to restart it because I accidentally almost revealed my information, and so I deleted the previous VOD and moved on. And right now we're trying out basically a slower Monster Hunter. Alrighty. So... for you, do enjoy a monster animal moment? Yes. So right now I'm trying to barely see them through all this foliage. But come on. Oh, no sight of them.
Bonkers.
Alright, so... mating call from a fallow. Hi there, little Incineroar. I want to see if I can get a male. Because apparently... because there was 2 females there. If I can get a male, that'd be cool. One with, like, antlers and shit. But I'm not getting a good sight from where I am. Cookie! For a little Incineroar. Little stealthy cookie there. Not seeing anything. Alright. I imagine the minute I get close. I can almost hear them eating. Pretty sure I can hear them eating. So yeah, cause hope you're wearing your sneakers right now with how much stealthing around you're doing. I have no clue what my character is wearing shoe-wise. Right now, it's supposed to be, like, heading to an outpost. But I've been, like, distracted. Alright, so they heard me and they're fleeing. That's understandable.
Hunting roe deer? They're not the most difficult to hunt, but keep in mind their excellent senses of smell and hearing.
Oh, there we go. So that's how you zoom in and out. Okay, cool. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Okay, pretty sure that was a headshot. Are you not supposed to aim for the head? Are they actually, like, wanting me to commit to, like, oh, it should be via the heart? No organ hit. Oh my god, that thing has a thick fucking skull. Should have kept my... I should have, like, gone for the heart or something like that. So, yeah. Just getting so fucking deep into the woods right now. Fuck it. We're heading to the, what's-mahoozy thing. So, where's my map? Shooting range over there. Outpost. There. Wait, I thought I already visited the... Hang on, mission log. Visit an out... Oh my god, I already visited the outpost. God damn it. But it didn't note it as like a... Oh, you visited the outpost. This wasn't a hunt... You had some reason it was in your head. It wasn't that this wasn't a hunting game until suddenly it was. Alright. Gosh darn it. How long was I like... Is there a way for me to just like... No, there isn't. Alright, cool. Alright, fuck it. We're disrupting nature as we Monster Hunter run back to the outpost.
Red fox would actually not be too hard to hunt if it weren't for their small size, making them difficult to spot. They do scare quite easily, though.
I love how there's like a heart indicator I forgot to keep an eye on in the bottom left, bottom right. You can't, again, once again, indicators that you cannot see right now. Alright, cool. Looks like my heart is fine. Let's go for another sprint. Thank you for the hyper himbo there, Xerix.
Bigger.
Getting some exercise, are we?
Bigger.
Just remember to take a breather before
Bigger.
shooting anything.
Bigger. 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 Bigger.
Yeah, you actually
Bigger.
seen a red fox in
Bigger.
real life
Bigger.
before eating wild
Bigger.
blueberries. It was very cute. Nice. Cool to hear. Nice. Good work. Alright, hopefully I don't get a heart attack running up this hill. If only could make a deal with God. Run up that hill. Da 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 da. You've seen bunnies, deer, and coyotes. I have seen, so not in a zoo, I have seen dingo, deer, wombat, and I think that's it so far within a that's like outside of a zoo. Wait, was this not the mission? Oh crap, is this not the mission? God damn it, is... Okay, so... Oh, there is an outpost, okay. Alright, cool. 400 meters. Okay, so I've got a 400-meter run to get through. Alright, let's... Alright, let's see how good of a runner this guy is. Where you currently are, you've seen a million rabbits all over the place. Ooh, hawks are cool. Alright, let me just have him just walk for a little bit so he doesn't get a heart attack. So yeah, the outpost is just over there. I wonder if my draw distance is like really low and That's why the game, like, looks really cool up close, but then from a distance, it's like, I can't see shit. Thank you for the head pats, Ginger Fox. Welcome, welcome. I am in a hunting game. I have shot a deer so far, and apparently headshots are not, like, insta-kills. Discovering each region's outpost allows you to fast travel there. Nice. Good to know. People mistake the cry of one of those two for an eagle. An eagle sounds so less majestic. You can buy new equipment, take on challenges, and rest. Nice. I claim this outpost as the American in me claims anything.
Cozy, right? Outposts are great for stocking up or just taking a break.
Okay, so there's all kinds of rifles, which we cannot afford. We've got the Ranger thingy-majiggy. We've got that kind of a sight. Alright, cool.
Oh, you found a shed! I remember finding a big deer antler for the first time as a kid. It felt like I had dug up some real treasure. I still have it at home. Hi there. I've got a bit of an unusual question. I hope you don't mind. I think I mentioned Gerlinda, right? Well, here's the thing. She's writing a book about fallow deer. Her second one, actually. She's got a small obsession for fallow deer. If you want a neat challenge to pass the time when not hunting, many of the animals are shedding their antlers this time of year. They're still tricky to find, of course, but I guess that's why people like to collect them. Anyhow, she's missing some pictures for her book and was looking for someone to help out. It's a bit specific. I remember hearing that you're quite the photographer yourself, so I thought I'd pass along her offer. She's looking for a picture of a fallow deer taken in Rattenfeld. She'll pay quite well for it, so it may be worth the effort. If you were looking to help out Gerlinda with that picture, you're in the right place. You're in Rattenfeld.
If only I had a car. Alright, so up there should be, like, fallow deer up the wazoo, because it's like a feeding thing.
Gerlinda is lovely, but here's a friendly tip. Don't ask her about fallow deer unless you mean it. She will not stop. It's beyond obsession at this point. On the other hand, there's no one better for hunting tips when it comes to fallows. Oh, and her venison stew is out of this world. Makes me hungry just thinking about it.
Alrighty. So there should be some fallow deer around. Oop, hello. So there's some tracks. Nope, that's a red fox. Not what we're after. Alright, this has a lot of tracks. Alright, fallow deer. Was going for a bit of a walk. Very old. God damn it. Oh, they were in a run at this point. Oh yeah, they went a ways. And then it shit itself. Not as fun as Monster Hunter Worlds is, I'm going to be real with you guys. A lot of running around and barely keeping an eye on them. Although, probably better that I was... Oh. Maybe if this was like actual hunting, it would be fine. Because it would be like, you know, you just... You walk with your buddy. You talk about random nonsense until finally one of you actually catches on. This is what happens in actual hunting. What'd you expect? Like, I'm gonna be real, a little bit of this, to be honest. I just thought that they would shorten the time between tracks to animal, was all. Alright, hang on. No, not the... There we go. Okay. There's a pharaoh. They're calm. There's multiples of them. Oh, yep. There's 4 of them. I should not be downwind for them.
I just received the picture. It's beautiful. Oh, I'm sure Gerlinda will love this. Everything you see now is part of the reserve, but the land itself is actually
Ooh.
privately owned by the Sommer family.
Ooh, yes, look at that.
The current head of the family is Robert Sommer, and he's very supportive of the hunting reserve. Well, as long as it doesn't get in his way. You see, the Sommer family business has an agricultural arm, which includes the grain and cornfields spread throughout half of the reserve. Unfortunately, fallow deer love corn, and they've dug into the Petershain fields recently. Sommer usually turns to Gerlinda to keep the fallows off his fields.
Alright, where did I get him?
She's been bogged down with the book lately. If you feel like
Vital
hunting some
organ
fallow
hit
deer
just
in
now.
Petershain,
Excellent.
Sommer will make it worth your while.
Alrighty. So he's gone this way. He should collapse at one point. Alright, where's the next... Ah, there's the next blood splatter. It's a medium rate. Okay, so... Alrighty. Up. More tracks. That's not right. Where the hell did he go? That was it was a vital organ we hit. Like, that would have been his lung or something. Ah, there he is. Thank goodness for these indicators. I would have been running around. Okay, so once again, in the left lung. Alrighty. 78 kilograms. Nice. It was apparently very easy. Antlers and a skull. Harvest check. Proper ammo for this ammo. Shot 2 or less times. Intact trophies. And hit 1 vital organ. Nice. And we get ourselves silver for our efforts. Alright, true score. Main things. Thingamadoogies, circumference, and it. Okay, so. Alright, save harvest. There we go. Alright, what's next in our, Okay, thank you for your help with it.
There's
Here's a
no
little challenge.
shortage of ways to earn money as a hunter. No shortage of ways to spend it either.
Travel to the Petersland cornfields and harvest 2 deer. Find 5 tracks from the same fallow deer. Alright. So we gotta travel to the Peter Shane cornfields, which is somewhere. Cornfields might be over there, perhaps? Alright. Fast travel to here, just to... Maybe there's a vehicle. Excuse me. Now, is there any elapsing of time because of the fast traveling? No, there isn't. Cool. Alrighty. Ooh, you can get bows if you wanted. I'll stick to rifles. So 270. This handcrafted bolt action. Oh, I need a higher rifle score. Okay. Oh, hey, I can get an ATV. Nice. Oh, but you need DLC for it. Okay. And then I can purchase dogs if I want. I can get either a... I can get a lab? Oh my god, and you can get like a chocolate lab if you wanted. But you need DLC for that. Alright. So, we got this roe deer. Worth nothing. Alright, delete it. Then we got this fallow. No, it's not taxidermy that. This is our character. Alright, let's check the stores. So we're already good with the binoculars we have. Well. Increases the noise, additional carrying capacity. Ghillie suits. Remy Warren, whoever that is. Decoy, sense. Ooh, collars. Ah, so that's what I have. Effective on white, black, mule, and Sika. Uh-huh. And then we have a roe deer color. Nice. Alrighty. Alright, dink. Alright, so we need to travel to the fields. Skills. Alright. Reveal information when investigating footprints and vocalization. Decreases your visibility. Gain and increased health. Soft feet. Contacting things. Ambusher. Increases the number of uses per canister for a scent lore thing. Cool. And perks. To reload all weapons while running. Nice. Okay. Alright, back over to skills. We've got... Oh, we got 1 perk point, actually. So that's going to go into the sprint and reload. There we go. And really no way of traveling. Oh. What a shame. Not the DLC. Would have been... I'm gonna be real. If they gave me, like, a vehicle, like, just on the base game, we probably wouldn't have too big of an issue. Alright, so there's a shooting range over there. I reckon the farm is over here. It's a 7-minute walk. And who knows? Maybe we'll be, like, running 80 miles an hour on this track. Meow. Yeah. Look. Probably not going to be playing more of this game after stream. I'll probably go back to Monster Hunter because Monster Hunter's a little more fun. There's all kinds of, like, crazy nonsense. So. But I will be honest with you. If they could somehow merge Sniper Elite or, you know, the hunting sim games with Monster Hunter Universe, oh, I reckon you got yourself a winning combo. Alright, what's this? Okay. Fleeing. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm about yays away from the farm. Oh, fresh droppings. Holy shit. Okay. Well, I still need to get to the cornfield, so there's that. How far away am I? 200 meters. Alright. We're just gonna go as the crow flies. Zoom in on this track, and that's fine. The game seems very slow and chill. It is a slow and chill game. I think I would have fun with this if I was able to, like, go on my crazy tangents when it pops up, like I do on Saturday MMO streams. But the problem is that I feel like when it gets to the evenings on the weekdays, like, for instance, today, which is it's a Sunday, it's either a Sunday evening or, like, really early morning Monday for a lot of people that are viewing me. So I reckon this wouldn't be, like, the highest, foot traffic for my stream in terms of, like, you know, conversing with people and what have you, unless I, you know, pull them into Discord or some shit. What's this?
Wow, you're a fast learner.
Okay. Nice. So, that's a hunting structure. That's a lookout point. A lookout point. Oh, I reckon these are the cornfields. I reckon those are the cornfields. Can I fast travel to this thing? No, I cannot. Okay. So I can just, like, sit here for however long, I suppose. Oh. Wow, what an absolute waste of time. Like, if I could time skip in those things, like, maybe then. But otherwise, nah.
Wow, you're a fast learner.
Wow. Don't mind if I do. Alright, hopefully the tracks I need to go to is... Alright, so 300 meters in that direction then. Alright, let's give that one a go. Apparently we're gonna help out a lady with her corn or something like that, so... You love the warping now? The fast travel, I think, is going to be very essential with the whole back and forth that this game is going to possibly throw me into. Alright.
Now that is what we call a skill issue.
It is what it is, Furry Cures. Also, hi, Furry Cures. Good morning to you. I'm assuming it's the morning and you're being irresponsible right now. Swap to a shotgun, just in case a deer tries to gets the jump on me. I doubt they will, but no, looks like they're just fleeing. Alrighty then. Now, hopefully... Oh hey, wild boar in the area. Oh, it's a resting zone for the foxes. Interesting. Yep, it's morning for furry cures. Peter Shane Cornfields. Alrighty then. First question. Where is the Peter Shane Cornfields? Because they don't exactly explain where that is, and for all I know, it might be all the way back. Oh my god, is it? If it's all the way back over there, that's gonna be. Oh yeah, it's like a little circle right now rather than a thing, so... Not important. You just woke up, you have to wake up early. Is it for, like, school or work that you have to wake up early? You better not be waking up early on my behalf. Because I do... Like, the Saturday streams have been turning into a morning stream, by the by. Alrighty then. Hopefully we will get to the cornfields. Yeah, this looks like a farm. Ring-necked pheasant. Lol. Fucking bird. Getting ready for school. Right. Oh. Improper ammo. Yeah, I thought so. Noted. Well, at least I shot it with less... Okay, so I probably should have used... Probably should have used this bad boy here. Well, my shotgun score increased, so that was cool. Oh, it's one of those. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Alright, are they gonna tell me what the cornfields are? So that's the game reserve. That's reserve, reserve. Alright, so all that is DLC. Oh! Oh, they're all the way up here. Holy fucking shit. Are you kidding me? Really? You want me to walk that? They want me to walk that. You have not introduced to me any other systems of traversal other than what I currently have, which is walking. Riddick. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing as well. It's like, this is Renfield. This is the cornfields. And they don't exactly give us an indicator of, like... Unless, hang on a second. If I... So, yeah, place a waypoint there. And the distance is 3 kilometers. I'm gonna be real with you. a 3-kilometer walk is not a fun thing in a video game. Oh, I swear, there better be a, because at least we can fast travel to this one outpost. Which we've unlocked. There is...
If you ever need to rest, there's a cabin in each outpost. I just had them refurbished last season.
Now, I'm pretty sure there was caps for the auto run. Auto walking was G. Holy shit. Are they really just gonna let me... Game? A 3-kilometer walk is also not a fun thing. You are right. And it looks like my guy is exhausted after... Oh, no, he just got caught on something. Okay. Now, unfortunately... Oh, can we rotate him? It's hard to see if he's rotating or not. Like, this is where he is. He is just sprinting. Or close to sprinting. There's an output. There's a lookout there. You can place waypoints, but you can't, like, fast travel to lookout points, which I think is a bit of a problem. And also, there's a road here. Why is it... Oh my gosh, hang on a second. This better not be a case of, while he's auto-running. Alright, hang on a second. Call to the wild, the hunter.
What if we held hands
missions.
as a treat?
Alright, so, in the hunter call of the wilds, over in the Rishins, visit an outpost, travel to the... So, travel to the cornfields. There's a lake in the top left of the north side. There's a lodge you can activate so you can spawn there and fast travel there in the future. There's one lodge you can fast travel and shop at per zone, and they are utter cancer. Oh boy, so this game is just committed on, you know, really... Cookie for Jason! This game is committed to the bit. Oh my goodness. You can only fast travel if unlocked, and you can fast... Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you, chat. This may not be the hunting game for me. If the second mission I get is, hey, travel 3 kilometers on foot to a place. Alright, what do we get here? Alright, so there's a red fox that is fleeing. But I just want to know what's on this marker. Like, oh my goodness. Like... Three, come on. If I was really irresponsible, I would have gotten first. Yeah, it's good that you must be trying to bait... They must be trying to bait you into getting the ATV? Most likely. Here's the thing, though. If the ATV DLC was released, like, after the release of this game, then holy shit, they should have I think they learned their lesson. But if the ATV DLC was released when the game was released, so they were just sort of like oh, here's all these other DLCs to, you know, change your experience and what have you. If they did that on day 0 or day 1, I would be a little mad. Zeebs, kill me. I can't sleep because you're too damn hot. I do not know how to help you in this one, Wild Saber, I am sorry to say. Lozogen. Water, like, drink plenty of fluids. Drink, like, at least 8 cups if you can. Can't wait for the next version to be, hey, travel 10 kilometers on foot. I am not going to travel 10 kilometers on foot, alright? You know what? Hang on a sec. Let me just hit the escape. We're going to escape to desktop. Let me demonstrate to you a good hunting game. You ready for this, chat? Hang on a second. Ding dong. Let me demonstrate to you a hunting game. Also, this is a hunting game that I'm totally fine playing with a controller. Swapping to, like, my 3rd different category in as many hours. The game has an autosave feature. I am familiar with the autosave feature. Alright, there's me's. Any friend sessions online right now? No, there isn't. I will create a friend session. Here we go. Alright, let's go for... Oh, Zora Madros is available in the optionals. Alright, cool. A new limited bounty is available in these things. Okay, cool. Complete high-level investigations. Cool. Awesome. Going solo or letting people in? Friends are available to join, and plus it's Zora Magdos. I feel like... There we go. Use a voucher. You're welcome to join in, Xerix, if you want. Alrighty. Alright, I should probably check my... Meow. Like, watch this amazing nonsense. Look at this. Amazing. I know this isn't what hunting is about, but let's be real. This is fucking amazing, and it's a fantasy. And I would totally want to have a barbecue before we go hunting. The fucking dish cat just being like, wow. There's a Monster Hunter Cafe, and I heard about that one, yeah. I heard there's a Monster Hunter Cafe. There's a temporary Final Fantasy XIV cafe as well. Alright. Store those 3 in there. Okay, I didn't need all the Nullberry. Hang on a second to put at least 5 in there. Put some antidote in there. Trank bombs can stay there. There we go. Hey, Xerix has joined. Nice. I wonder how upset Code will be that I'm, like, in the middle of playing Monster Hunter and I didn't tell him. Do you think they'll be upsetties? Nah, I don't think they'll be upsetties. Hi, Xerix.
I'll be a little bit for a tiny bit. Hey.
It's based on the Gathering Hut. Oh, okay. Alright, departing on a quest. Can you join if I just depart right away, or...?
I can join up in a bit. Just need to change my equipment.
Yep, no, fair enough, fair enough. It's just like breaking 3 stones, Nergigante like, you know, fuck some shit up, and then we, you know, throw spires and shit.
Yep.
Hunters, we need to weaken Zora Magdaros enough to capture it. Once you're on its back, give all you've got. Destroy the cores to weaken it, or try dropping some of those stalactites on it.
We've rigged the stalactites with gunpowder.
You can do it! Proceed with caution.
Destroy the magma cores to weaken Zora Magdaros.
The success of the whole operation comes down to how much we manage to weaken the target.
Magma cores located.
Hey, partner!
Alrighty. In no time at all, we're at a monster. And we're fighting it. Look at this.
Magma core destroyed.
Good work. Look for the next magma core.
Something's happening to its shell. The flow of magma is changing.
Oh, here.
Yay, you're here now. So I'm just dealing with the core, like, on the west side. So we just need someone on the east side to deal with the third one.
Yep.
Now!
Second magma core destroyed.
Oh, hi.
Good work. Look for another magma core.
Go.
Its shell is doing that thing again. Watch the magma. It's changing.
Then do a little bit of mining. Is Zora Magdaros like one of the optional missions where it's just like, if it pops up, it is just everyone sort of congregates to it if they're in an online session, or does it kind of get old after a bit?
I've seen people keep on going after it with, being higher ranks, I believe.
Okay, alright.
It's, well, you'll see what I mean later on.
So, yeah, because I feel like the argument
Alright.
for getting onto Zora Magdaros is because of
Hold
the,
nothing back.
like, one, it's a timed, like, optional mission. It's not there
Yep.
all the time for you. And two, like, the gear is still, like, a worthwhile thing to have. So, and you just need to do, like, multiple runs normally.
Yep, and I might not be able to hit that.
There we go, another piece broken. You have to, like, climb into a hole to get to it.
Let me hit.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Just grabbing all the different Zora Magdaros stuff. Because I'm pretty... Yeah, I have, like, all of its high gear and such like that. I just didn't go for the option that gives you a, like, to insert a gem into it. Was the only thing I didn't do with it.
Hmm.
Go. You have to make it like a giant mountain, don't they?
Yep.
What's with the tremors? I think Zora Magdaros is charging up power.
Keep hitting it until it relents. We can't let Zora discharge its energy.
Okay.
Hit it with a style attack.
Excellent. Now it's time to restrain it.
I don't know how to hit it.
Hold your positions. Are the
It's
fighters
still
ready?
red, so no, not yet.
Good to go, old man.
There we go.
Still no. It's showing up
So
as
it's
red
just
for
no.
me.
Mm.
Oh, you're using
Yeah,
a
I'm focusing on
blowgun.
this. So, like, yep. Trust me, I would rather go with after Zora Magdaros with this instead of being in the line of sight due to
Nice.
that.
Noted. Alright, I'll break it down. Hi there, Freckles! Welcome to the stream! We were trying out, like, a hunting simulator called Call of the Wild. Or, I say we, but it was me that did it. And it was... Well, it asked me to do a 3-kilometer hike. Which, I'm gonna be real, was not, you know, my idea of a hunt.
Target restrained. Zora Macro,
There we go.
stop moving.
There we go.
What? Wait!
Alright, now
Stand
let's
at
get
the
out of
ready.
here.
Nergigante is upon us. Of course it is. Hunters, prepare to intercept.
Nergigante, up there on the shelf.
Go!
So is the whole thing about Nergigante the fact that it
Whatever you
can,
can.
like, it hunts other Elder Dragons for its meals?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see if I can get the head to break. See the nose.
It's over this way. Oh, alright. Close it real quick so I don't die.
Go!
I can.
Zora's broken loose.
That's all right. Hunters, stay focused. You have to drive off Nergigante.
Try to weaken it for you a bit.
Thank you.
Zora Macros is changing position. It's trying to get up.
Brace for the shock. Don't let it shake you off.
That. And start running up. So, yeah, because this should lead it to its head.
Zora Magdaros is starting to rear up.
Hunters, keep at it. It's all up to you to drive off Nergigante. Go!
Alrighty, and... Okay, so how do you get to its head?
Yeah, you have to keep, if Nergigante wasn't here, it would be a bit easier.
Do you want me to keep Nergigante distracted while you... Cause
Yeah.
You seem to, yep, alright. Swapping. Nergigante, get up here.
Go!
Got knocked off.
Sorry about that.
I'm good. I can make fine.
Keep it up! Don't let that fiend have its way! Let your courage guide you.
Go get him. You know you've got this.
Oh, I almost got cooked there.
Oh my god, I am not doing positive. Okay.
Go!
Damn it, that's out of reach.
I am going to need to drink this really quick.
Nergigante has retreated.
Alright.
Good. That's one problem we don't want to deal with.
I don't know if I was...
Continue the operation.
I don't know if I was effective of any caliber.
You were.
Zora Magdaros is getting back on all fours. It's continuing its advance. Watch yourself.
All right. Prepare to intercept at the barrier. Hunters, hold your positions on its back.
Third magma core destroyed.
Oh, kind of already destroyed the third one. What would you say is your favorite time of day? I am a fan of the evenings, personally speaking, because my brain just sort of starts, you know, not only is it like partially awake, like refusing to go to sleep and such like that in the evening, but it's usually like a time where it's like after work or any obligations and what have you. And plus, the end of my day is the start of America's day. So a lot of friends like Dazzy and what have you over on the other side of the world are you know, waking up and what have you. So. Whee. Alrighty, and then into the 90 we go. What's your favorite time of day, Xerix?
Honestly, the evening as well, because it's a lot calmer.
Righto, righto. So, I don't think we have any morning people in my streams.
Entering the final skirmish. Hunters, I don't care what it takes. You have got to wear down Zora Magdaros as much as possible. This is the last bastion. No more second chances. If Zora Magdaros breaches the barrier, all is lost.
Alrighty.
Over here!
Okay, one of these
Hold
cannons
nothing
should
back.
already be filled. Yep, alright,
Okay.
I see.
Yep.
Should be a straight... Oh, no. Perfectly straight. There we go.
I could...
Also, your Moogle is like just over here for whatever reason.
Yeah. So, same with your cat.
Oh, my cat's right with me.
Magdaros isn't anywhere big
Oh,
enough.
it was earlier.
Okay.
Weird. I wonder why we have like two different iterations of our cats on in the game.
No, it's with you now, I guess. Guess mine is just being dumb.
He's tooting his horn. Alright, knowing my luck.
Oh, right. It's... We get down there. Alright, grab the binder. Holds you in there. So if it gets his claw there, no.
Sorry?
If it puts his claw on the bridge, let me know.
No, he hasn't done that yet. Okay.
All right.
He's about to, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I saw that he was about to
Magdaros
attack.
isn't weak enough.
Where's the... Rolling. Weird to think that rolling with a cannonball is faster than carrying it.
Yeah.
You think they would just roll the cannonball in that case? Alrighty. Well, yeah, it looks like he's gonna blast something.
Oh.
Okay.
Good attack.
I think he attacked one of the ballistas that was binding him. So far, so good. It's not a catastrophe right now. There's no damage to the barrier from the looks of it either.
Okay.
Move closer. Move closer.
make it up in time.
Still no claw.
Oh!
What's... Oh.
What just happened?
You're getting attacked by wyverns, maybe? I don't know.
No, it just decided to drop me off immediately.
Oh! Wow, we didn't even use the Dragonator for this.
Actually, we did. I used it once.
Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't get, like, a cutscene or anything like that for it, so... There we go.
Yeah, it was just knocked back.
Alright. Sora Magdaros Gem, Ridges, Accommodation, some ore, and a magma. And because of the voucher, we get 2 times the reward. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, Xerix.
Welcome.
Alrighty. This is how hunting should be, ladies and gentlemen. Granted, I would like guns to be like, you know, like bullet gunny things, not like blow dart guns. But it is what it is. Oh, I get my login bonus as well. And I get myself tickets. Excellent. Alrighty, is any research done? Alright. Lava Nugget, Thunder, Sack, and a Barnos Talon. Whatever those are.
Oh, those are the flying rats that I keep on talking about with Zora Magdaros.
Ah, okay.
You'll find them in Elder's Recess.
Alrighty then, and the... hang on a second. Alright, so I've got 3 what looks to be expeditions I would need to do. So yeah, the Barnos, you said, from the Elder's Recess. Lava Nugget, I imagine that's from the Elder Recess as well.
Mm-hmm.
2 Thunder Sacks. Who would have something like that?
Toby Gaddafi.
Alrighty, let's have a look at some Vespoid. No. Ooh, 5 Barnos. Dodo, Toby Kadachi in the special arena. Alrighty, let's go with that one. I just need to eat something. Yeah.
Same.
Oh, thank you for using a gourmet voucher.
No problem. I got 49 left.
I imagine even if it was a case of using one for each assigned mission, you wouldn't have run out.
No, especially with make sure to grind the hell out of the mining out.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah. You'll see why once you get to Iceborne.
Ah, yeah. I'm not there yet. I'm like 8 missions away from the start of Iceborne, I think, or something.
Not particularly, I think.
Alright then. Oh, I need to remember not to go into the mission until you join in, otherwise there won't be as much, potions and things.
Hello!
They'll update for it.
Will they update for it and give, like, the other thingamajiggy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right now I'm just using, like, Defender 5, which is, like, the last of the height of the Defender line. Because I think the whole point is like, yeah, you just use this until you get to the start of Iceborne.
Kinda. At one point you do need to start, getting better armor and weapons.
Yeah, but you get better in armor and weapon. Like you go for better armor and weapons when you get to the start of Iceborne, is what I'm saying. So like by the time you do the the main segment of Monster Hunter World, you then have like the resources and materials. So then it's like, oh, I know what I want to play as, and so you pick your weapon and you go down like the proper manufacturing and such, so then when you do like your first mission in Iceborne, it's, you know, with a set or what have you.
Kinda. Again, with Rise, definitely. Here with World, you have to focus more on the elements.
Yeah. So, gotta have like a thunder, water, sleep, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Where's my rations? There we go.
Means get that sorted.
Oh, you gotta, like, load things up.
Yep.
Alrighty. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
I'm gonna do something cheeky.
What's cheeky? Oh, by the by.
Get a trap.
Hi there, YY again. This is Xerix. Xerix has like popped up a few times in my Final Fantasy streams, and most recently Monster Hunter stuff when I play. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep.
All right, where's the? Because I know what you're cooking.
Yep.
Yep. Alrighty, and then pulling the lever.
Nice. Oh.
Alright, so what part do we need to like break off for Thunder Sacks? Just the
I think it's just a quest reward. I could be if I'm not mistaken.
Alrighty then. Alright, we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go.
Please, the head's wounded.
Tail's wounded.
Nice.
Darn it.
Well, let's try this.
I am not having a good time trying to get it in the head with my hammer. Alright, left front leg wounded. Ow. Alright, part broken on the head.
Nice. Oh, that was the leg.
Yep. Head wounded. Ow.
Yeah, I think it's just the body and the back legs we need to focus on.
Yep.
Focus on now.
Yep, okay.
I'm not sure if the tail is broken or not.
Nah, I don't think so. Not yet.
Oh.
I've wounded it at least once, though.
Okay.
God damn it. Alright, rear leg again, wounded. Alright, I'm on the tail again.
Nice.
And tail's wounded.
What? Why is it the shield working?
There we go, stunned.
Nice.
There we go, part broken and slain.
Nice. That should also get you some membranes, which are annoying to get.
Yeah, hopefully so, hopefully so. So yeah, because we would have broken... So I think head and tail have been broken at the very least. Hopefully they'll mention to us which ones have been broken.
Nah, it'll just give us the rewards in the end.
Ah, okay. Didn't find your friends in the sea. Oh no, this is an impromptu sort of thing. Xerix wasn't planned to be on the stream or anything like that, but it was a case of like, you know, we were like I didn't have any plans for my stream this evening, hence why it was like, you know, half an hour of just chatting. Then it was trying out a German like hunting simulator, which I wasn't going to enjoy the 3-kilometer like walking sim. It's not Death Stranding. And so yeah, so it's just a quick detour into Monster Hunter World before I'm done for the night, because yeah, it went by very quickly this evening. So stretching. Yeah, Mondays.
And normally even though I'm a Wolf Guard right now, I'm normally a Blue Hyena.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, there it is. Alright, so yeah, because you usually use the Rothgar for when it's a Final Fantasy stream, right?
Just a recent thing I decided to do.
Alright, so we broke their back, which gave us a scale, their head, which gave us an electrode, the 4 limbs for the claw, and the tail for another electrode. And the Thunder Sack was a quest reward, and a Crisis Jewel. Nice. Palico almost went up a level. 8 weapon attacks while cleaving. Nice. Alrighty. Think, swipe right on all those things. Alright. I should hopefully have enough for the, Yep, there we go. I now have Master Ale available. Barnos and Lava Nugget will be done by the, What's-a-Mahoozy, the, expedition into the Elder thingy-madiggy. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of done for the evening. I didn't want to go, like, too much further, quite honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, other than the D&D Night with Code coming up and the MMO, like, morning, I'm not 100%, like, strongly committed to, like, playing as long as I have done normally, like, on a, like, when, compared to, like, those streams, for instance.
Yeah, I get that.
So, have you started streaming as well, or are you still on the fence with that?
Still on the fence, plus I think I need to get a better computer. Because the hardware I'm using, I'm not sure I upgraded parts, but there's still some issues with it.
Alrighty then. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. I reckon you'll do pretty well with the with streaming and such, because you're a nice vibe when you're joined into the Discord with me and such. So I reckon, like, once you get your initial base and then you get like a and then you get, like, you know, some overlays or a different microphone or something rather, and learning, like, you know, EQ and all that kind of such, I reckon you'll do really well.
Thanks.
So yeah, I'm gonna quit out of this game, save my progress, start the music again. There's the Galaxy Zebra in the background, and we swap over to here where I'm basically too big for my screen now. And it's at this point that I call it a night. So yeah, not tomorrow night, but Wednesday night, I will get back into Yakuza Kiwami. I don't want to leave that hanging, and I think I might have found, like, a workaround solution from all the, like, the input lags and stuttering I was having, and it's, weirdly enough, from a dynamic link library mod that makes it so that the game runs using Vulkan rather than DirectX 11. So yeah, it notes that there is a bit of an issue in the first, like, 5 or 10 minutes when you play, but that's because of it compiling the shader. But I didn't notice that big of an issue in the first 5-10 minutes, but I definitely noticed, like, a far less, like, input lag and such like that when I was, you know, giving it a little bit of a trial in this afternoon. So, good job on that one. And yeah, it should be nice. We'll be able to, like, you know, go through a game and have, like, a lot more moments of, like, reflecting on whatever content they're providing me, any political commentary and what have you. Because I feel like my strength is when I'm able to bounce off someone. I'm hard. It's difficult for me to communicate with a vacuum and such. So.
Yeah, I totally get that.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. You helped keep me sane.
Anytime.
Not to worry, not to worry. Alrighty then. Now, I'm thinking we should go and raid into Race Solar. They look to be drawing some beefy boys, which I think a lot of my viewers will like, as I myself am a beefy boy and will continue growing in Macro March. I hope you peeps will join in with me with our raid message. Do we have an idea for the raid message, Xerix?
Not particularly.
Alright. Let's just go with Hebrew raid. Actually, no, hang on. Macro March is here. Himbo raid. And then let's just use the... Dunk. Oh, wait. Twitch. So, Twitch raid. March is here. And... Alright, how big did I grow? Because I got... No, I'm not 2.13 meters. That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I think you grew up to 2.
Give me a second.
2.87.
There's a way for me to, like, fix that. 1 second. Stream update. Test. Refresh. Yeah, 2.84. Alright, I'll keep that in. Alright, so this is going to be our raid message for raiding into Race Solar. Or Race Solar or Race Solar? I think it's Race Solar. Alright, we're gonna raid in. I hope you'll all join in with me on this one. Macro March is here. Himbo raid. Macro March is here. Hopefully you'll join in with me on that one. Otherwise, all I got to say is thank you everyone who came along to tonight's Scuffy stream. I greatly appreciate it. I'm glad. I'm kind of pleased with myself that I was able to fix up the Himbo and Cake cam, so in future it doesn't do like the camera nonsense. Hawaiian Pizza, if you're still here, thank you so much for clipping. I really appreciate viewers who clip in my channel. It's really great. Want to give props to that. Xerix, once again, thank you so much for joining in on Monster Hunter World when I swapped over to there and keeping me company. I hope you all have... Yeah, look at this belly button. I hope you all have a good afternoon, morning, evening, night, wherever you are. Xerix, any final words?
Make sure to keep up with... Make sure that you're healthy, and if you're sick, please take the time to rest.
I agree. Absolutely, Xerix. Strong words. Thank you so much. Everyone else, bye for now.
See ya.
Alrighty. And then I just need to start the stream once it transfers over into the thing. Yes, I do. There we go.